Today's video, I will be interviewed, and I'm nervous because I'm going to be discussing what led up to my divorce. My ex-husband has been getting interviewed by social media platforms telling our story, and I felt compelled to let you know what I've been going through, what I've dealt with. I want to just put it all out there. You guys have been asking me, what happened? You guys were such a perfect family, and today is a day where I just let it all out. I hope you guys can get an understanding as to why my ex-husband and I got a divorce and why.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Now, I know many of you probably thinking to yourself, "Raw, coaches, that's the fourth video you've dropped of Latoya Jaxn." Yeah, there's a fifth one after this. And you're probably asking, why am I dropping so many different videos? Well, when I was on Jaxn's neck, y'all weren't complaining, right? When it was the men, y'all weren't complaining. So I don't want to hear nobody in the comment section talking about, "Coach, why are you on their neck?" It's always a woman on the neck. I'm on everybody's neck, okay? And I really believe that Latoya's got a little bit of narcissistic vibes going on. Now, I don't like to say people are narcissists because, like I said, I believe, when we talk about diagnosing people, I'm very, very careful. But there's a lot of narcissistic vibes. I'm going to break down just a few points of narcissistic stuff that I feel that contribute towards this profile being spoken of. The same way Jaxn, we broke down some of his profiles, right? So if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, well, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated. All right, cool. So listen, first things first, I want you to point out is this whole setup, okay, of this interview. All right, when I first saw it, I said, okay, cool. So if you heard her correctly, the reason why she did this interview solely was, one, because her husband had done an interview and told their story, apparently, okay, where, first of all, if you watch the interview that he did, he was quite polite. I'm going to be very honest with you. If he missed out so many stuff that she's trying to add into it, right? That's number one. Number two, the way she's even sitting, I think it's very, very purposeful. We saw with Jaxn and the way that he was holding his wife's hand. I pointed that out to you guys, and I talked about how his hands were covering her hands. It was a psychological thing to make sure that she knew that he was in control. I spoke about the distance and the body language that they showed. Well, if we look at her particular body language here as well, feet in the chair, looking comfortable, but it's almost like this little girl that's sitting in the chair, and I think that's very, very purposeful. That's why you see her later on with the leg up, and almost like a little kid sits in the chair, right? And for me, I believe that a lot of people think about these things when they're doing them, and the reason why is because this is trying to promote the whole "I'm innocent" look. But all that she says in the next 30, 40, 50 minutes are not innocent, okay? So we've got this kind of innocent vibe going on, and even the way you watch the interview, she's quite emotionless as well, right? Throughout most of the interview, she's quite emotionless. She doesn't show any emotion. Now, when you're sharing traumatic events that have happened to you, you're claiming potentially rape, you're claiming potentially people have been abusive to you emotionally, etc., and we don't get that level of emotion from you, I'm a little bit scared. Now, she may have distanced herself from her emotions and gone numb, but this doesn't look like one of those moments. You normally see it in the eyes. So when someone's numb from the pain, you normally see it in the eyes. But when you watch her particular interview, you don't feel that sense. Number two, the interview is curated. Okay, she has curated this interview, so she has made sure the questions that are coming, she knows exactly what questions are coming, which makes it inauthentic at the point of when you're saying, "Oh, sorry, what did you say again? Do we have to answer that question?" Well, if you're the one that knew the questions and you agreed to those answers beforehand, which I saw in a little comment section, someone asked that, she said she did know the questions beforehand. Then it says, why are we doing this whole, do I have to answer that question? Like, we know exactly what that is. It's a try to play on that emotion, like, oh, this is very difficult for me to say. Girl, when you started off, this wasn't difficult to say. You was out here to destroy, right? You didn't come out to play. You didn't spare no stone unturned. So that's the very first thing for me, right? It's an intentional message to get something across. This is my first opening stance of the thing, right? And then we have these crafted intentional questions that are way leading. All right, they're very leading, and that for me pushes a narrative of I'm trying to create a storyline for you, the audience, to believe, which is something that narcissists do all the time. Present out to you a perfect storyline of what I look on the outside, and then and you don't see the madness inside, right? A lot of times we associate with narcissism with these men because we saw Derek Jaxn. Oh, he's a narcissist. He would cheat on his wife. Da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, cool. But you have to see it here as well, right? Because this woman is a serial cheat, number one, without remorse, no accountability, okay? And I'm seeing people saying, oh, but look how she admitted that she cheated. No, you didn't. Just because someone admitted it, that means she, first of all, started off by trying to throw him underneath the bus, by saying that the question I was asked was, has he ever cheated? Now, let's get to your cheating, sis, right? And even when they asked her that question, she couldn't answer it directly. She went down in a winding tunnel before she came back to, okay, I don't think he actually has cheated. Even though, do you know what I mean? So the whole purpose of this interview was to tarnish him. There was nothing that she said where she explained it in a way that was like, do you know what? That is actually really bad, and I know I shouldn't have done that. There was none of that. It was all, I've done this, and yeah, it is what it is. Oh, because of what he's done. Do you understand? No accountability at all. Let's just look at something like this. Point number 3 or 4 we're on. Leading questions. Listen to this.
Experience together.
Do you think that in him being your business partner, that made him a little bit controlling at times?
Now, if you've watched this interview, we don't know how we even got there. All of a sudden, we went from business partner to now he's controlling. So how do we get there? Because the questions were created before we got there. That's why. And the questions are put there to create a storyline. So when the person's listening, they're jumping from point to point to point, and every point is about how dark and bad Adam is. But the trouble of this is that when Adam was on his particular interview, yes, I believe he tried to put on a holier than thou persona and everything like that. But he actually saved her brand so much. There were questions that he refused to ask because he said, I don't think that would look good. Now, someone said, oh, he only did that because he didn't want to look just as bad. No, but listen, if he told a story as she told a story, it's mad. There is no way around it. You are stalking your husband. You are buying a gun without consultations. You are now also, in a sense, trying to get on a TV show at any cost. By her own words, guys, we are dealing with a narcissistic vibe here. Straight up, we're dealing with someone who's got narcissistic tendencies as no, right? So let me play something to you guys well, right?
In saying, this is the day I have to pack my bags and leave.
The relationship, first of all, we
Sorry,
were
I went
going,
too far.
bought a gun. She put a GPS device on my car, and you know, her cousin is here trying to convince me to sign off on paper, so I can totally understand his point of view.
What was the breaking point for you in saying, this is the day I have to pack my bags and leave?
The relationship, first of all, we were going through a divorce.
See, so a lot of these questions were driven to try and get the audience to be on side of Latoya. That's something that narcissists love to do. They love to do because they have to present an image that looks like they're the ones that are completely the victim. Am I saying Adam's free from things? No. But when we're talking about someone dealing with narcissistic vibes, they always present this side of things.
I was pregnant.
Has he ever put his hands on you?
Do we have to talk about that?
Look at that. No. Pause there, Sarah, darling. Pause there. Do we have to talk about that? You already know what the questions are. So when someone's doing this, it's actually trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Is this not the same thing Derek Jaxn was doing? Derek Jaxn came onto he did his own interview, right? I've still got the video. Came and did his own interview, right? Live the night before he confessed and said, I never slept with that woman. Nothing sexual relation happened like that. You know, there was sexual activity, sexual whatever, but there was no sex involved. And then came out the next day and came out and said, yes, I did sleep with that woman. Which one is it? right? So they have control over their imagery, and still yet they get found out. So she has curated this image to make sure it looks like Adam is an absolute sicko. If you walked away, like you can't walk away from this interview and not think Adam is a sicko, unless you think she's a narcissist. And here's why. Because she states things that are absolutely horrendous. He's a woman beater. He's a rapist. He's somebody who got her drunk and made sure she had a third child. He's a physical abuser. He's an emotional abuser. He's kept her in the relationship when she didn't want to be in the relationship. You cannot walk away from this interview and not think he's a sicko. I'm sorry. So if and people will do, oh, well, people will say, oh, you know what it is, like, they're both as bad as each other. I'm not here for that. No, make a decision. I'm not here to sit on the fence because you're not sure what you want to make with the information. I am looking at the information. I'm telling you straight from my perspective. When I walked away from the interview, I said, either he's a sicko and he needs to be in jail, or this woman here has got some narcissistic vibes. Right? Because I don't doubt parts of the story is true. Like, that's how it works. You don't just throw complete lies, right? Or you don't throw all your story as complete lies. There are some that are complete lies, as narcissists will do, right? But this story has absolutely painted him as an absolute wizard. Do you understand? Right? So the narrative completely is all about attacking Adam. That was a complete narrative that she went for. She went to make sure that, listen, she's going to paint you an image that this woman was a victim and there was no way out. And that's why when she starts to talk about cheating, which we'll go on to in a second, when she starts talking about cheating, let me just, if I can get this up first.
Has really opened my eyes to...
Sorry. When she starts talking about cheating, right, specifically, she doesn't show you any emotion in terms of remorse as to what she had done. Do you know what I'm saying? As what she had done. Let me, if I can get it up, okay? If we can get it up here. Sorry, that's not even the one. Here we go. Let's get this up so you guys can see. All right. Let's this.
About it, and we moved past that.
Was that the only time that you ever cheated on him?
No.
Now pause. I want you to pay absolute attention to the answer she's about to give. The question is, have you ever, let me just put my face up here. The question is this the only time you've ever cheated on Adam? Listen very carefully, right? Listen very carefully, right? I don't need any Latoya fans jumping into my comment section because I got smoke for you too, all right? Listen very carefully. There is never an excuse for this amount of cheating that's going on. The same thing you're cussing Jerry Jaxn for, you better be ready for your Latoya girl. Listen there.
I mean, in my mind...
Pause. In my mind is a rationalization already of what you're about to tell us. You see, the answer was, yes, I have cheated on him. But in her mind, what she's going to say, look at this.
I didn't really look at Adam as a husband. Like, I just looked at him as my business partner, and we were forced into getting married.
This is not her being honest and transparent. This is her explaining the narcissistic vibe that's going on. See, what she's done is done what a lot of cheaters do, especially men who cheat compulsively, is separate the subject, compartmentalize that person, dehumanize the person, and then give you an answer, because that's the only way they can continue doing what they're doing without feeling like they're being evil to the person they're with. So first thing she's going to do is strip Adam of the title. I never saw him as a husband. What crap is that? Are you telling me you never saw him as a husband? You're telling me you never saw him as a husband, even though you were running around with him the whole entire time. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Oh man, when you deal with narcissists, we were all like, whoa, Derek Jaxn doing a third person video. This exact same energy. She just hasn't done a third person video. It's the exact same energy. She's dehumanized the subject, stripped him of a title, which you can't strip him of because you never took a divorce. This wasn't happening just when you were divorcing. This is happening throughout the course of the marriage, right? You've cheated several times. Darling, listen, just continue listening.
You know, that doesn't give me the right to go out there and, talk to other men. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like connected to him at all. I just felt like, as I said multiple times, I felt like we were just great business partners as opposed to love partners.
Was he?
How is that being honest? See, you think you're getting honesty from the person. You think the person's being transparent with you. What they're doing is pulling the wool over your eyes. Because some people are like, oh, she's being so honest. You know, she's admitted that she's cheated. What you didn't sense in there was remorse or regret. What you heard was rationalization for cheating several times. What do you think that does to the psyche of the person who's been cheated on? There's a narcissistic vibe that comes in when there's a lack of empathy involved in this, right? In this, I'm going to show you where she explains it again. Still no emotion, brother. Did you see the emotion there? You didn't see an emotion. Did you see an emotion of feeling bad that she did what she did? No, she said, there's a reason why I did what I did. There's a reason. Come on. Why I was a serial cheat like that. Come on.
And I cheated on Adam. I got physical with a male. We didn't have intercourse at all, but when I got back from the cruise, Adam found out about it. When I walked in the house, I saw him sitting on the couch and he just looked like irate. He looked like he was...
I want to pause it here because the reason why I'm going to pause it here is because the story is going to go on to the fact that obviously they had a fight and he put hands on her. Now, what you're not going to understand is, again, oh, she's being so honest. What you don't realize is what she did was conflate two stories together. I said this in my other video. She did it on purpose where she brought two stories that are very intense, but one's more intense than the other. Everybody forgets the cheating and remembers that he put hands on her. I went in the comment section on her page and I saw, oh, how can anyone dismiss the fact that, you know, he put hands on her? No one should ever put hands on anybody. And they completely forgot this woman was a serial cheater. That's what narcissists do. They're very, very clever in how they release information to you because they know how they're going to craft a story. So instead of her telling the story separately, look, I cheated on Adam at this particular point. I came home and I just slept on the bed, bruv. Yeah, I felt no way. Did you hear any remorse? Did you hear any regret? No. So the story only came up because she wanted to use the story at that point in time as a method to tell another story about how he had been abusive. But look what the cheating that she talked about serially, did she take any accountability? No. She said, oh, I didn't look at him like a husband. The cheating that she mentioned here, did she take any accountability? No. I was out, I was enjoying, I didn't actually have sex, I came home, Adam was kind of vexed, he got into a fight, he pulled me off the bed, there was a fight and a tussle, as he says, whatever, which I believe he probably put hands on her as well. Everybody forgets the serial cheating because now he's been an abuser. And so this is very craftily done. Like, it's so curated that the individual who's watching this, who doesn't have an eagle eye, who gets confused and goes, oh, you know, either to get locked onto the abuse, locked onto the rape, or locked onto saying they're both just as bad as each other. So it's like, you don't focus on the actual details of what's being told to you. Do you feel what I'm saying? But actually, all of it is done purposefully, done with precision. Do you get what I'm saying? There's no emotiveness from her at all. You know what I'm saying? Right? None of it. It's a careful manipulation of a story to sway the audience to get them to feel a certain type of way. She wants to persuade the audience to be on side. All right? Okay? Let me continue on and show you some excessiveness I'm talking about here, right? Because y'all want some proof about some bad behavior, right? I want you to listen to this, bruv. If you think you're dealing with a normal person, the narcissism we're talking about here, listen to this.
But at the last hour, I said, you know what?
Sorry, let me go further back. Listen to this.
And then again, I went back to him. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I can't fake the funk anymore. I just can't fake it. I can't do this, you know? So I was battling. And on top of it, he then filed for the divorce. This time.
Pause. He's now this time round. Listen with your ears. Listen with your ears. Be very conscious and listen with your ears.
So he gave me what I truly wanted.
Pause again. He gave her what she truly, not even what she wanted, what she desired in her depth of her heart. This is what she wanted, a divorce. Now listen to what she's about to do. If you don't think someone's narcissistic vibe and you think, oh, this is normal, listen to what she's about to do.
But at the last hour, I said, you know what? Let's try to work this out.
At the last hour, she decides she wants to work this out. Now listen to why she's saying this. You want to know what you're dealing with. Listen to what she's saying.
Let's see if we can, you know, grow together, build together, rebuild what we crashed and burned, and just try to fix it, you know, and be a team. But I have to be truthful with myself. The only reason why I said those things is so that he could be on the show with me.
Pause the freaking show. I only said those things so he can be on a show with me. Now, there's two things here. There's a lack of empathy. There's a lack of remorse, a lack of regret of doing this action. Okay, right? The thing that she preceded it by saying is that I have to be true to me. So not that you have to be truthful, but truthful to me. It's not truthful about you. It's not that we needed the truth. Truthful to herself in the way that she behaves. And so now when she mentions about this action, it's not about trying to expose it to you. It's about her. Listen.
So he dropped the divorce. And then I filed for the divorce. And I said, you know what?
So deep it. She only filed for the divorce. Did you not hear? If you want to make sure you didn't hear this. She only filed for the divorce, right? Solely so that, okay. Oh, sorry, my camera's gone a bit there. She only filed for divorce, all right, so that she could then what? Get on TV. That's the reason why she told him not to file for the divorce, so she can get back on TV. Then she said, "I got to be true to myself, and I've got a divorce." So you manipulated him to stop the divorce. Do you know what I mean? And then file for divorce after. This is what we're dealing with, right? You want to talk about narcissism? You want to talk about Derek Jaxn and them man and the man of Quavo and the Sweetos and everything like that. This is what we're dealing with. We're lying now to get on the show, right? We're lying to get on the show, and it's about her, and she'll do anything to do it, right? And just, I even missed a clip here about the excessive cheating. Listen to this.
Leader right now. Like, you can't even control yourself from being a mess. And you want to fuck your way into heaven? You can't do that. Okay? This is just crazy. You know, if it would be different if you walked a different lifestyle. And
so I missed a little bit here.
One of the times where
he's gonna
get a little messy. But like, you talk all this religious talks, but you have a scandal right now of you messing around with a church leader right now. Like, you can't even control yourself from being a mess, and you want to fuck your way into.
Excuse the language. Now, so Latoya, listen. It's not just the cheating that I'm talking about. It is the whole entire show of what we've just seen. The whole entire reel. I really believe we are dealing with somebody who is carrying some narcissistic tendencies, and because of that, the way that they're acting, because of the way they're acting, that's why I had to do so many different videos, and I just compiled it now all into one go. And I'm just like, yo, like, this is what I saw with Derek Jaxn, the same way, just creating this image of I'm going to be honest with you guys, and still be doing the madness that you're doing. Right? You're trying to holler at trying to holler at Adam whilst with this guy Von. Yet it's Von, the guy that you're saying that you want. We're still doing the madness with Von. Now we've got the pastor too. Like, bruv, nothing's different to what Derek Jaxn's story is telling you. There's nothing different. The only difference is that it's the other way around, right? Do you know what I mean? But I'm talking about the narcissistic vibe instead. When everything's about me, and me, and I need to be adored and I need to be admired. There is some level of narcissistic vibe when you're trying to do things just to get your way, that level of manipulation just to win. Anyway, listen, guys, leave it there. Nice and short one for you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification on the uploads. We appreciate you. All right, we appreciate you.